High cost of power and diesel in Nigeria may cause many firms to fail, according to economist Bismarck Rwane. According to Mr. Rwane, who was speaking via a phone call with The Punch, he said margins are being squeezed. He pointed out that the cost of power has increased, which is unpleasant for businesses, which of course you tie that with the lack of power from the grid collapsing, is causing those margins to be squeezed. Now, joining me to discuss further, Samuel Oyekanmi, who's a macroeconomics analyst with Nairametrics. Samuel, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. When you see $378 million heading out of the country for education and nothing coming back in the other direction, what are the implications in your view?
Really, thank you, Rotus, for having me. The issue around Nigerians' foreign education expenses, really 300 million plus, is really small compared to be fair, compared to what we do have before the COVID-19. We do have at least $1.2, $1.3 billion spent on foreign education in a quarter, and this is just about 300 million in 5 months. To really be fair, it's not as bad as it was before. But logically, looking at the Nigerian economy, we do not have the liberty of having to spend so much on foreign services, and that is why we are seeing a lot of roller coaster around our exchange rate right now. Black market rates skyrocketing to record highs, and even at the I&E window, we see Naira depreciating against the US dollar. It's just a strong indication of how the Nigerian education is being perceived by the citizens, and that's why you see a lot of people prefer to go outside the country for foreign education, because at the end of the day, even studying in Nigeria, you don't really have certainty if you're going to get a job. The timeline for your education is also not fixed. You study. You are supposed to study for 4 years, and at the end of the day, you end up using 5 to 6 years due to recurrent strike actions over and over again. And that's just the reality, and that's why you see a lot of Nigerians moving out of the shores for foreign education.
Thanks. And this data we're looking at on the screen is coming, during a period where I think exactly a week ago today it was reported that President Buhari gave Minister of State for Education Adamu 2 weeks to report back on the ASU situation. He's got 1 week left. Do you think he'll report anything significant?
Should be said. He's definitely going to report something. How significant, I don't know, because they've had recurrent meetings since February now, and at the end of the day, it's really not. It has not yielded anything. Although, in the first place, it was the Minister of Labour Ngige that was running point, and now the president has said the Minister Adamu should take over negotiations. But the truth is that these demands by ASU did not just start today. It didn't start this year. It has been for a long time. And if at this point nothing is still being done, as I don't think this 2 weeks will change anything. But on the positive side, we are seeing the NLC and some other agencies in the country trying to join the strike actions in solidarity to ASU, and probably that could spur some great reaction, and we could probably see a turnaround. But as the case is right now, I do not really see anything being changing, even if it is Adamu.
Well, I want to move to Kwara and this deal that was signed. There's a couple quotes from, I believe it's the head of service. Modupe Oluwole. Actually, let's skip to the second quote. This one is just saying that they understand the situation. I want to get to this second one here. Governor Abdul Razak of Kwara State recognizes the fact that workers are key and they need their pay, and he's doing all he can to ensure that workers get paid. This part, Samuel, almost everything that comes to the state of Kwara goes to payment of salaries. She couched that in the middle of her quote and then finished that Kwara doesn't have the same situation as other states. What do you make of that?
To be fair on governments, really, I think they're really having a hard time, and that's because revenue IGLs are not really doing so well. So when you look at their numbers, you realize that they barely make about 19 billion annually, and FAC allocations actually contribute over 60% to their total revenue in a year. It tells you how badly they are doing when it comes to IGL, and why they might not be able to fulfill some of these obligations, because at the end of the day, the government more or less employs a significant chunk of the people who are working in the state, and by the time you pay salaries at the end of the day, you realize there's really not so much to go by in order to do some infrastructure. But that being said, I don't think that's really excusable to government. I think it is high time every government right now, especially now that with the new NMPC now, which stated that there will not be any form of allocation to states from the NMPC going forward. It means states really need to up their game and find innovative ways of generating revenues internally, because at the end of the day, 30,000 minimum wage, even that is even quite small. So I would expect every government should be able to at least do that for the workers in the states.
All right, and I guess that's why non-oil exports are really important. So what do you make of these domestic export warehouses that the NEPC, the Export Promotion Council, seems very bullish on?
Well, it's quite important, because if you look over the years, one of the complaints about Nigerian exporters, especially those who export agricultural produce, has been the fact that they get their products and items rejected, especially when it has to stay a long time at the ports before exporting them. Many of them start getting spoiled because we don't have good preservation tools now to preserve most of these food items. And at the end of the day, they have a lot of items being perished. But with this warehouse, hopefully we'll be able to have state-of-the-art facilities that will be able to help preserve some of these items, ensure that they get adequate value for their goods. And with that, we could see a real increase in our CBN, or in the amount of forex that we have in Nigeria, because right now we are in dire need of it. Our external reserve is at $39.4 billion, and it's dwindling because the CBN constantly intervenes in the I&E window. We do need it, and this, I think, would definitely help going forward.
I want to get to Bismarck Rwane's comments, economist Bismarck Rwane, on the fact that some businesses, because of power situation, FX, and so many other things, could collapse. What do you make of those comments?
He's very right, very, very right, because when you look at the financial statement of some of these banks, of some of these companies listed on the stock exchange, you see the amount that energy cost has gobbled from their revenue, and you see how their operating expenses has gone up significantly. And of course, if the only two ways the business will have to go around it is if they pass some of these expenses to their customers, that is increased prices, and that is still also causing more inflation in the economy, or they reduce their margin. I don't think anybody is going into business to record losses. So the only other option they have is to increase their prices. And if the customers are not willing to buy them, especially if those products are not necessities, at the end of the day, you just find them folding up or having to reduce their level of productivity. We saw some companies at some point in April, May, they reduced their working hours because of the fact that they have to spend so much on diesel. And right now, fuel prices are still not down. It's just more pressure for businesses operating in Nigeria.
Just a minute to go. Maybe you already answered this, but what can be done to protect businesses going forward? In a minute, if you can.
Okay, protecting businesses right now, I already said that one is to pass the cost to people, but that is not an advantage to the people anyways. In the first place, I think Nigeria should have increased productivity. If we had increased productivity, businesses will not be exposed to so much of the foreign exchange volatility affecting their operating costs. And that would have definitely solved this problem at this point. If there was increased productivity and we don't have to rely so much on importation, very well, our costs would definitely come down. But that being said, we are not producing so much. That's the reality.
Thank you so much, Samuel Oyekanmi, macroeconomics analyst, Nairametrics. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.